10 things I learned about traveling with someone with Parkinson's disease. Hey guys, today I want to cover this topic because I think it's very important to share what it's like to travel with someone with something like this or a similar conditions. I think this will help you or others who are going to travel with someone with conditions that affect them when they travel. Please hit like, subscribe, and share this video if you find this content helpful for you. Let's move on. Before I share what I learned from traveling with someone with Parkinson's disease, let me give a definition.
Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurological disorder that primarily affects movement. It occurs when nerve cells, neurons, in a specific part of the brain called the substantia nigra become damaged or die, leading to a decrease in dopamine levels. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a crucial role in controlling movement and coordination. Key features: tremors, often starting in the hands or fingers while at rest. Rigidity, stiffness in muscles causing resistance to movement. Bradykinesia, slowness of movement making tasks take longer. Postural instability, problems with balance and coordination.
Now that we've covered the definition, let me set the tone of it. In 2021, I took my friend who has Parkinson's disease to Mexico, and it was eye-opening when I did. I've never taken anyone with her condition or something similar to anywhere in the world, so I learned a lot. The first thing I learned about taking my friend to Mexico is knowledge. I did not know much about Parkinson's disease. I heard about it. I knew a little bit about it, but not knowing the ins and outs of it. It was until my friend told me about it and encouraged me to learn more about it that I found it very complex. My friend, she has tremors. She can lose control of her body. I did not know this until she explained it to me, and it actually happened to the point that her life was in danger at some point. So I had to learn a lot about Parkinson's disease and how it affected her. And this will lead on to the next topic that I'm going to cover. The preparation part was typically when I prepare for a trip, it's the basic stuff such as clothes, hygiene, stuff to record my memories such as recording for videos. With a person with Parkinson's diseases, it is a different ball game. You have to prepare 100 times more when someone has Parkinson's disease and you're traveling with them. You have to make sure that they have all their medicines. You have to have a game plan if something happens to their bodies, such as they shut down. You have to keep in mind of the situations that you might come across to, such as when you go to an airport or use some kind of transportation. You have to plan constantly when you are traveling with someone with Parkinson's disease. And this was very hectic when I had to plan this. My friend tended to have brain fog that she would forget some stuff, and I had to remind her to take the stuff and make sure that she had this. Keep in mind, this was the highlight of COVID when it was happening, and we were traveling during that time. So a lot of things I had to consider in preparation when I was going to take her to Mexico. When I travel, I am very quick to the gun. The second the wheels on my airplane lands, I'm already up and at them and ready to get off the plane, pick up my bags, and go to my destination. With someone with Parkinson's disease, you have to go 100 times slower at least. My friend, as I mentioned before, tends to lose control of her body. What I mean is her brain and her body loses communication randomly. I never knew when this might happen. It just happened. I had to be very careful with her how I move. There would be times such as we'll sit in the airplane, and if she sits way too long, her brain and her body just stop moving completely. They stopped working together, stopped communicating, and she had to sit down for a few minutes. We would have to be the last people off the airplane so she could get time for her body and mind to be able to communicate as one. We had to be careful, especially with steps. So if we took the bus, the airport bus, to go anywhere, we had to be the last ones off the bus so people wouldn't bump into her and she would fall and get injured. And because of that, we had to go really, really slow. I had to assist her, help her down, help her get up. I was pretty much her cane, which I was glad that I was. I was happy that I was, because I wanted to help her as a friend as best I could. It was just mind-opening to see that I had to be very, very slow about moving around with someone with Parkinson's. One thing I learned, and I'm not a big fan of, but it happens with someone that has Parkinson's, is that there's going to be some form of complaining. My friend, I love her, but she complained a lot as we were moving. I must admit that we were traveling during the holidays to go to Mexico, and for her, it was very, very tough on her because it felt like people weren't listening to her. I had to remind her that people don't know that you have this condition, but it didn't matter to her. It just felt like to her that people should recognize that she got this disease and she needed to be assisted. It's part of the game with people, I guess with people with Parkinson's. It's just they want to be heard and understand that they have a condition where they can't really move around and they can't be pushed around or rushed or whatever that case might be. I learned that, at least from my friend, that complaining is part of the game with the disease. Tremors are the most terrifying thing to witness as a person who does not have this disease. When I saw my friend have tremors, it was very terrifying for me. I was very terrified for my friend because with tremors, the worse it gets, the closer it means that she needs to go see a doctor. And if that was the case, that pretty much would have ruined the trip. Fortunately, it did not. Even so, she did have tremors. With my friend, her hand will start shaking. She will lose control of her body. It's difficult for her to move. Like, she needs to lay down and rest and get to recover. But for her, the tremors were a sign that her Parkinson's were taking effect. Unfortunately, when you have Parkinson's, it gets worse as you get older and it becomes harder to manage. The older she gets, the worse the tremors are getting. And that was very frightening for me. It was very fearful when I saw her having the tremors happen to her, where she just couldn't control her body. She was pretty much helpless, very dependent on me to make sure that she got the stuff that she needed when she needed it. Stress is the worst enemy of a person with Parkinson's. My friend now has a way to avoid as much stress as possible. The way she talks to you, she doesn't like getting into arguments, so she will try to avoid arguments as much as possible. She will try to placate and try to understand as best she can so she can stay calm. She cannot afford to be upset at all because that will trigger her Parkinson's the worst way. We've had some arguments, but we've managed to avoid them on this trip by talking about it and listening. I learned the best way to overcome the stress is simply just being quiet and listening to my friend. With that being said, there will be emotions. When I talk about emotions, I learned from my friend that she would be depressed at random moments. We would be laughing, smiling, having fun, talking about funny conversations and situations, and all of a sudden she would talk about dying. I don't like being depressed. I'm always looking for positive things to pick me up. I don't like being there. It was very tough for me to let her vent about potentially dying because she has this disease that she can't really control. I couldn't be a cheerleader for her on this trip because If I did, she did not like it. She hated it. She hated when I was a cheerleader and said, hey, you're not going to die. You got a lot to live for. She did not want that at all. With a person that you're trying with Parkinson's, they're going to have emotional moments. And as a friend, all you can do is just deal with it and just let her or that person just vent it out. That's all I could have done. I just let her vent it out as best I could, and I tried not to be a cheerleader. I tried not to uplift her because at the end she did not like it. This one, I gotta be honest, hurt me the most because my friend liked some unhealthy coping mechanisms to help her get through her Parkinson's. What I mean by that is the way she deals with her Parkinson's is she tends to drink alcohol, a lot of alcohol. Now she's smoking and vaping. But when we was on the trip, I bought her a lot of alcohol. And I did not like it, but I had to realize that she was making an adult decision. And I probably could have said no, but I didn't want to deal with the emotions of not getting her and her getting pissed off at me because I wasn't trying to support her into helping her Parkinson's. I get it. I can't control what a person wants to do, but it was also my trip and I wanted to make it as pleasant as possible. So I did buy her lots of alcohol to help her deal with her Parkinson's. I know some of you out there will probably say there were other ways, healthier ways to deal with it. As I said, she's a grown adult. She's dealing with this on her own. She's done it most of her life. I haven't. So I didn't feel like it was in my place to tell her what to do. So I bought her a lot of alcohol. She drank a lot of it. It helped her in a way because I guess the alcohol dulled her senses, so she didn't get as much tremors, or the tremors weren't as bad. So the tremors stayed away for the most part every time she drank. Would she get drunk? She didn't get drunk. She told me alcohol didn't affect her that much. She can drink a lot of it. And from what I saw, it did not affect her to the point that she passed out drunk. I remember bottles of Mexican drinks that we would get, and she would drink pretty much almost the entire bottle, but it helped her manage her Parkinson's in her mind. And I was like, if that means less stress, then I was going to take that and go with it. My friend does not like being a burden. She hates it. She despises it. She will remind you or anyone, including myself, that she does not like being a burden because she has Parkinson's disease. Yes, she might need help at times and she will ask for it. If we're doing activities and she's interested in doing it, but I fear her Parkinson's will hold her back, she would get angry at me, and she's very stubborn. She would tell me that she has it and she can do it. And a lot of stuff that we did on our trip to Mexico, she does not want her Parkinson's disease to hold her back from doing stuff, and she doesn't want people to patronize her to the point where she feels like she has to be babysat. And that's what she does not want. She never wants it. Even today, she does not want to be patronized and be babysat. On the flip side of that, we would have fun talking about her Parkinson's disease. We would joke around. We would laugh together about it. We have fun making her of her Parkinson's disease. And I think that helped because that relieved the stress on both of us, as this trip was stressful at times, but we would turn around and talk about her Parkinson's disease and how it affected her, and how, we make fun of her. Like, we make fun of her tremors at times, and we just keep talking about it and just laughing about it. So what I learned is sometimes people with Parkinson's disease just wants to laugh. They want to laugh about it. They don't want their Parkinson's disease to be a negative moment on a constant basis. They just want to embrace it, but they don't want it to embrace it in a way that it holds their lives back. I think comedy and joking around about it really helped me and her on this trip, and it made the trip pleasant at the end. We both had a great time going to Mexico in 2021. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe, and share this video. Also, check out this video. I think it will help as we went to Mexico. It will be somewhere around here. So look for it, check that video out. I think it will help you plan for your trip. Rather, if you're a rookie or a veteran, check it out. Thank you for checking out this channel.